Sweden holds a powerful card, the JAS Gripen, one of the world's most versatile fighter jets. Ukraine wants it, pilots are trained for it, but the war keeps the deal locked away. With F-16s already promised and Mirages on the way, the big question is, will Gripen ever take to Ukraine's skies? Or is this just another political promise on paper?
Welcome back to SkyJet Wings. Sweden has made its position clear. It does want to sell its state-of-the-art JAS Gripen fighter jets to Ukraine, but only under one condition. That transfer would take place after the war is officially over. Right now, when it comes to the role of Swedish fighter jets in Ukraine, the situation remains unchanged. No Gripens have been sent, no dramatic policy shift has been announced. For Ukraine, the pressing question remains how to strengthen its air defense and modernize its fleet. But Sweden continues to walk a cautious line. The real question is, why is Sweden holding back during the war? Is it a matter of military limitations, or is it a deliberate political calculation, avoiding a direct provocation of Russia? And here's where the suspense begins. Because once the war ends, Gripen will not just be another fighter jet for Ukraine. It could become a symbol of independence, a powerful deterrent, and perhaps even a new balance of power in Eastern Europe.
Sweden's Prime Minister Ulf Kristersson has chosen his words very carefully when it comes to the question of supplying JAS Gripen fighter jets to Ukraine. In a recent statement, he said, "We have put the discussion on hold, but it is not written off." This subtle phrasing is important. It doesn't close the door, it simply delays the conversation. In diplomacy and defense politics, that usually means Sweden is waiting for the right moment or for the right political conditions to fall into place. Meanwhile, from Kyiv, the signals are very different. Ukraine's Deputy Defense Minister Ivan Havrilyuk, in an interview with the BBC, made it clear that Ukraine expects an expansion of its air arsenal. According to him, the country is preparing to receive more American F-16s, French Mirage jets, and, potentially, the Swedish JAS Gripen. This isn't just speculation, it's a statement of confidence. Ukraine is preparing its population and its allies for the idea that its skies will soon be guarded by a more diverse fleet of Western aircraft. Here comes the most striking part. Prime Minister Kristersson himself admitted that Ukrainian pilots are already trained to fly the Gripen. Think about that. Even though Sweden insists the discussion is on hold, the training has already happened. This suggests that behind the scenes, preparations are far more advanced than official statements let on. Sweden has quietly ensured that the option remains fully alive, ready to be activated the moment political conditions allow it. And timing is everything. Kristersson is now traveling to Copenhagen for 2 major summits. According to official reports, one of his scheduled meetings will be with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky himself. This raises a powerful question. Is this just another diplomatic courtesy, or could this be the stage where Sweden and Ukraine align their positions more clearly? From one angle, Sweden may be signaling restraint, keeping Russia from feeling directly provoked. From another angle, it may be leaving deliberate breadcrumbs, hints that once the war's dust settles, Gripen jets could be the next chapter in Ukraine's air defense story. So the suspense remains. Will Gripen stay as a future possibility, or is Sweden slowly preparing the world for an eventual surprise announcement?
When it comes to the immediate future, the message from Stockholm is clear. No Gripen deliveries are expected anytime soon. Prime Minister Ulf Kristersson has doubled down on this point, reminding everyone that the so-called F-16 coalition remains the centerpiece of Ukraine's current air strategy. This coalition, led by Denmark and the Netherlands, has already sent F-16 fighter jets into Ukraine's hands. Sweden, on the other hand, has supported the effort differently by sending aircraft designed for radar reconnaissance, a critical but less visible role. According to Kristersson, this was absolutely the right call. In his words, it was the right decision not to introduce several Air Force systems into Ukraine at the same time. And on the surface, his logic makes sense. Ukraine's forces are already adjusting to American F-16s, integrating new technology, new logistics, and entirely new training regiments. Adding Gripens to the mix at the same time could create chaos. Multiple aircraft systems, different maintenance requirements, different weapons packages. For an air force under daily pressure, too much variety can become a liability, not an advantage. But here's where things get more interesting. When asked directly if there are any ongoing talks about fast-tracking Gripen deliveries to Ukraine, Kristersson was blunt. There are no new talks underway. We have put the discussion on hold, but it is not written off. Notice the pattern? The phrase "not written off" keeps coming back, over and over again. Sweden isn't rejecting the idea, it's carefully shelving it, like a card waiting to be played at the right time. This careful, deliberate choice of words suggests one thing. Sweden wants Gripen to remain a live option, a bargaining chip, and, potentially, a post-war solution that could reshape Ukraine's air power for decades to come. So for now, Ukraine will continue to fly F-16s, Mirages, and its existing Soviet-era fighters. Gripen is not part of the immediate picture. But the suspense is building, because Sweden's constant reminder that the deal is not written off means this story is far from over.
Prime Minister Ulf Kristersson has drawn a very sharp line. The debate about fighter jets for Ukraine during the war is one thing, but what kind of air defense Ukraine will have after the war, that is a completely different question. And here lies the heart of Sweden's strategy. According to Kristersson, Ukraine has already shown clear interest in a traditional, large-scale acquisition of modern fighter jets once peace is restored. In simple terms, not just a handful of aircraft for survival, but an entire fleet for the long-term rebuilding of its air force. And Sweden, he says, is very interested in being part of that future. But there's a catch, and it's a big one. The major stumbling block is not about training, not about technology, and not even about Russia's reaction. The real question is financing. Modern fighter jets don't come cheap. A single JAS Gripen can cost tens of millions of dollars, and building up a fleet requires not just jets, but infrastructure, weapons packages, spare parts, and long-term maintenance contracts. For a country devastated by war, where every dollar is needed for reconstruction, how will Ukraine afford such a purchase? This raises several possibilities. Will Sweden and other Western nations offer favorable financing deals? Will NATO or the EU step in with funding? Or could Gripen become part of a broader security guarantee, where aircraft are provided at reduced cost in exchange for long-term defense alignment?
Kristersson's emphasis makes one thing clear. The immediate battlefield is not where Gripen will appear. But in the post-war world, when Ukraine is ready to rebuild, the Gripen could move from being a political talking point to becoming the backbone of an entirely new air defense system. What do you think? Will Sweden take the leap and make Gripen Ukraine's next-generation fighter? Or will politics and money hold it back? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you want to stay ahead on defense, aviation, and global security stories, make sure to subscribe to SkyJet Wings, hit the like button, and ring the notification bell so you never miss what's coming next in the skies above.